You're in the Business Insurance Zone with me, Steve Savant, National Insurance Columnist and Financial Color Commentator. This week on The Biz, our monthly update series for December 2012. And on today's show, our life insurance update with special guest Jessica Lopez, recognized siren of the Spreadsheets.
When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Well, welcome everyone to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm your host, Steve Savant, and we're broadcasting live to a nationwide audience of financial advisors right here in Fountain Hills, Arizona, home of America's largest fountain. And today we're doing our life update with Her Highness herself, Jessica Lopez. Hey, Jessie.
Thank you. Hello, great to be here, Steve.
I'm bowing to your authority. There's certain people that just like, I don't know, some people just like to create Excel spreadsheets. Some people like to do grids.
Oh, yeah, I just love the Excel.
I know, you love that stuff. I mean, there are people that are totally into analytics, and you're one of them. But today we're going to have to go a little bit off. We're going to talk a little bit about grids tomorrow, but I really want to talk about our final, and I mean final show on AG38.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm saying final is because so many carriers have made protocols towards the end of the year. Mm-hmm. Now, we're sitting here at the first week of December, so I'm just give you a heads up now. You still have an opportunity to get a GUL on the old pricing, which is really pretty good.
Right.
And underwriting if you can get a full file in by Friday. Now people say, Steve, that's only 48 hours to go. Well, I've been telling you for 2 months to do this.
Exactly. Got to get it in.
You postponed it. If I don't have a full file and the application, somewhere around the 7th, it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
So I just want to give you a heads up. But let's start walking through the protocols of every carrier. Now, I couldn't do them all. There's 80-something carriers that have some format that was affected by AG38, and some of them annuities, by the way. And if you missed our AG38 show from October, Eric Palmer was excellent. We laid out 4 anomalies in that show that nobody wrote about, and I'm so sorry that I didn't put it to pen myself. So I want you to go back out and catch the October Life Industry show.
Yes.
In October for 2012, and look at that AG38. That was great. Let's go right into it. Let's talk about, who's your first guy up here? American General.
American General. And Steve, you bring up a good point when it comes to getting those cases in. Number one, we've got some great underwriting deals that we can make with our underwriters right now. We have people who are very competitive, and the rates are where they want, and we want them to be right now, currently in the industry. Right. So first of all, American General, new pricing on AG Secure Lifetime GUL, the AG Secure Survivor GUL, and AG Choice Index GUL, okay? So basically, all the policies effective January 1st, 2013 will have the new rates. So we need to get that in now.
For the cheaper rate, right?
For the cheaper rate.
If you want it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, now they're all going to be kind of like this.
Right.
But there are some anomalies in here. What about AVIVA? And they've been in the news so much, and not always together the best news, but they've been players for a long time in GUL market. What are they doing?
All right, with AVIVA, target premiums will remain the same on the updated versions. NLG premiums are changing as listed. Guaranteed UL solution, minimal, if any, premium changes. That's good news.
It is.
Advantage Builder, minimal, if any, premium changes. The AVIVA Survivorship Builder, both premiums increases and premium decreases. So what do you think about that, Steve? Why kind of that?
Well, okay. I can't get into the mind of the actuary and who'd want to go there anyways, all right? But I want you to think about this. When you make minimal changes, AVIVA is already a player. Mm-hmm. They made minimal changes. Right now, in the grid that we're going to talk about in tomorrow's show, they kind of went up the food chain, so now they're product players. I just want to warn you, though, the December grids that you'll see tomorrow may not be anything like what we're going to see in January by this time this all ferrets out and we get all these carriers to play in their game. But what I like about it is anytime I see minimal changes, that tells me that they were already reserving pretty close to the wall. More than likely they weren't using shadow accounts, and they were already doing their normal actuarial pricing according to the guidelines. Mm-hmm. So that kind of gives me a tip. Now remember, there's other carriers that didn't even change at all, surprisingly, but that's AVIVA.
Okay, perfect. Now moving on to the next, Minnesota. Minnesota's sticking to their guns here, aren't they, Steve?
Well, I'm in shock because every carrier, and I remember there always is an exception to the rule. I can't read everybody's briefs by the time I get to this, okay? Mm-hmm. But every carrier I read on all the players, and I'm going to say that was probably about 35 or 40 carriers, Minnesota is the only one that's sticking to their original assumptions on their secondary guarantees. Now, when I see a carrier do this, I'm like, first of all, I have to say, be honest, great IUL product, but their GUL is in the middle of the pack. But because they've stuck to their guns and everybody else has to raise their prices more than likely, now all of a sudden they become some player here, and maybe they were pricing it right all along.
Exactly. Did it right from the start. Next on our list is Genworth. Genworth. Basically, a lot of their changes have already happened. We've sent notifications out to everybody. You've seen some shows. We've gone over product changes, underwriting, and so forth.
And still, we get applications that are late. Yeah, okay.
So basically, here, right now, on December 7th, the GenGuard UL will serve as the new conversion product replacing Lifetime Protector SG2. This is everywhere except in New York, where the Lifetime Protector SG New York 2 continues on with a conversion solution.
Yeah, but think about that. Remember, there's carriers, and we'll get to them probably after the break, that are actually letting you convert till the end of the year. And you want to do a heads up. No underwriting, of course, on that, because most of those are window opportunities. But some carriers are even saying, even if we don't have it, we may allow you to convert it. So you have to figure out who's going to play in that regard, and that's going to be a whole other scene, including when we get back from the break, 1035 exchanges. Now, ING, I love ING's index product. Their solar product for the 162 bonus is excellent, but they pulled completely out of the market here.
Right.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah. GUL is gone.
So when I think about it, I think they'll be back. You can't just stay out of that market, but you're going to have to reprice. And everybody is struggling with basic reserves right now and secondary or shadow guarantees. Remember, we brought up in our last month's show that there are a few carriers that actually had contractual triggers inside the policy. I still can't talk about that yet because I don't want to get sued. But there are carriers now that it looks like the people that had these embedded triggers that would have cost a client more are going to have to eat it because the PR would just be too great. When we come back from the break, we're going to continue to address our AG38 and the carrier impact on guaranteed universal life spreadsheets. And don't forget to enroll in our IULUniversity.com for the best training, education, and sales support when it comes to life insurance for retirement income.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Welcome to the Brokers Alliance Auction House. I'm Jessica Lopez, and that's Steve Savant. What are you doing?
I'm practicing my auctioneer skills for our carrier bidding process for our producers' substandard cases.
Steve means that we're packaging our substandard cases for underwriters with specific carriers that are known to specialize in certain health impairments.
There are really only a handful of competitive carriers in each category, and we've identified who they are.
It's all about securing the best possible underwriting offer by packaging your substandard case with the right carriers.
So let the bidding begin. Well, welcome back to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm Steve Savant with Jessica Lopez. And remember, you can order today's giveaways at thebiz@brokersalliance.com. And what are we giving away? Your last shot at the Impaired Risk Field Guide. I mean, this is it. I'm not giving it away anymore. It'll be out there forever, of course. But for your use, for table shaving and everything else, you got 2 more days to play in this market, really. I mean, because we got to have the full app and all the file. I can't just
time to work here.
I can't stretch it forever, and our carriers are already telling me that I'm being way too liberal. So we'll just see what we can do. Hey, listen, a heads up before moving forward. If any of the ideas, always consult your tax advisor. Now, we're not talking about taxes, but remember, every time, always make sure we talk about things. Just make sure if it's taxes, you're always talking to your tax advisor, your consultant. And if you're with a broker-dealer compliance officer, always check in with your compliance department before you move forward with anything we're talking about. But today, we're talking about AG38, Actuarial Guidelines, AG38. And it is a carrier impact issue. I mean, not since 2000 when we implemented XXX and EEE, have I seen similar issues with this. Now remember, everybody said when this was going to happen, Armageddon would happen. All prices are going to go up 10, 15%. Well, I heard that back in 2000. Now we're doing the same thing in 2012. We're talking, I hear some similar kind of, last days, hey, December 21, the Mayan calendar, we're all going down anyways.
Exactly.
But really, when we think about it, let's look at some other carriers. And here's one that I really like because they really kind of did some cool things here. Now they're even more player. They're already pricing pretty well. They had to make some changes. But let's talk about Lincoln Benefit Life.
Yeah, Lincoln Benefit has been a huge player, not only with underwriting, but doing things right in a smart way in terms of pricing and things like that, making themselves really competitive. Now, one thing I want to point out here too, Steve, we've been talking about deadlines and things like that, and we have to be very careful because there are certain carriers that want that policy, that application done, in force by the end of the year. And there are others that will allow you to have the application submitted by the end of the year with a certain dating on the application, and then you can still get those old rates. Okay.
So I want to make sure I just understood you. So some carriers say that has to be placed by the end of the year.
Yes.
Not going to happen on some of this. But as long as they're submitted, written, and in their shop
right.
by the end of the year, they're still going to give you the old numbers.
Exactly. Because backdating is available in a lot of these situations. So we can make sure to help you out there. Just let us know if you have any questions on the application that you're wanting to send in.
Definitely do not call me on this. Okay.
But we have it all here for you.
Excellent.
So back to your question about Lincoln Benefit Life. For them specifically, a couple things that we wanted to touch on is 1035 exchanges with money. Basically in a nutshell here, to qualify as a 1035 exchange money, the customer must include 2 months paid by check at the time of application. Okay.
Yeah, let's just talk about that for a second, because even though we're talking about AG 38, AG 38 was impacted because of a low interest rate environment and non-reserves, and not reserving enough. Now we're talking about 1035s. There's just not enough headroom for these carriers to make any money, so we're now limiting the 1035 exchanges. We're all fishing out of the same debenture pool. We all have the same bonds. I mean, we're just stuck with the same rates. So I've seen a lot of carve down or a reduction in 1035 exchanges, and this is just one of those areas where it's, and how much has this affected carriers? In Lincoln Benefit's case, one of their stellar products, which I just happen to love, no front end load, it was 1035, it was perfect. The legacy choice is going off the table at the end of the year.
Yeah.
See, so that's just one example of, wow, not only is it in fact impacting GUL and some term and annuity, but now it's impacting our ability to play in the 1035 land. How long can these rates stay down there? I don't know.
Exactly. And just really quick here too, on the 1035 exchange with money, I wanted just to point out the deadlines here. The standard new business where the applications must be signed by November 30th. So obviously we're now past that date. Give us a call. As long as the application is in by December 7th, if you've already written the application, just haven't turned it in, turn it in.
Okay, just remember, Jessie said we could stretch it. I don't know if Bill said we're stretching, but she said we could. Now here's a classic line from Lincoln National, because Lincoln National, we are like them. They've been major table shavers. I mean, they've been playing right now in paired risk land. They're big time. Their IUL from an income point of view is excellent. They put out a new VUL that's been really hot on the death benefit side of that equation with guarantees. Oh, unbelievable there. But what are they talking about in regards to GUL?
They're basically stating that regarding their in-force business, AG 38 will not impact the contractually guaranteed provisions of their in-force policy. So Lincoln's financial strength reinforces the company's ability to pay their obligations to these policies.
Well, let me just say this. Hey, we all thought we were selling guaranteed universal life, which means guaranteed premiums for whatever time that they said they did, and we're holding the carrier to it. And I can't have any carrier coming back and saying we have some kind of policy trigger that says if our shadow accounts go below that, we're going to have to charge the client anymore. We're trying to put this in granite. How about LGA, or better known as Banner?
Banner. Now, Banner, LGA, they've always been very dedicated to term and GUL. So we see here that not only do they have a great GUL product, but they also have a GUL product that offers up cash value. So do you want to elaborate on that a little bit, Steve?
Well, actually, the thing about them, I'd really like, if you're going to have GUL, most of them are cashless. But in their case, they actually endow at the maturity date. Now, I know people say, well, who cares? That's 120, age 120. But they also have about half the cash value of the death benefit, age 100, and about a quarter of it at the client's life expectancy. So to me, if you're going to have GUL as GUL, and I might actually live, I might have a little bit of cash on that.
Better something than
Better than nothing. How about, and let's close out our show with one of our big ones, our protective. I'm going to skip over a couple of these because we only have so much time. In fact, actually, I think we're out of time, actually. I have about 5 more carriers I wish I had time for. If you write me at thebiz@brokersalliance.com, I'll send you all these reports. It'll be a file. I'll probably have to compress it down for your response. Just write me, thebiz@brokersalliance.com. Happy to keep you apprised of what's going on. Don't miss tomorrow's show on underwriting, a little bit more on AG 38. Remember, you can watch our show and all the week's series by clicking on the red on-demand video button right on our homepage at brokersalliance.com. Well, that's the Buzz on the Biz for today. Get in the zone, the business insurance zone.
The Biz is brought to you by Brokers Alliance, a national leader in insurance products, support services, and educational workshops. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.